we need to be the full version of ourselves first to step into our full life. And I think that's so powerful about menstrual cycle awareness and what I see in the women I work with. Something happens. It's so organically. It's nothing with effort or with pushing or you need to become something. It's like it's happening with so much ease, and like everything is unfolding by its own. And with this trust to your body and this connecting back, you can first even hear your whisperings. If you don't connect to yourself, if you don't trust, you can't hear it. And then you slowly start acting after them in trusting your body and what it needs. And those little impulses like create those big things, like doing these little steps.
Welcome to Wildflow Podcast with me, Charlotte Pointeau. I'm an internationally award-winning menstrual cycle and embodiment coach, cycle mysteries guide, and founder of the First Moon Circle School of Menstrual Education for Children. Tune in for deep, heartfelt conversations with wisdom keepers, embodied leaders, and change makers on themes from cyclical living in flow with your menstrual cycle and body's wisdom, reclaiming rites of passages to normalize period positivity for you and the next generation, and exploring our embodied experiences, soulful transformations, and intuitive wisdom guiding you to express and embody your full power and the change you want to see in the world. Are you ready? Let's flow. Before we dive into today's episode, I'd love to share with you my brand new Cycle Wisdom membership called the Wild Flow Coven. The Coven is a brand new monthly membership for soulful women to be in sacred online new moon ceremonies together, where you'll be guided to connect deeply with your cyclic self as a mirror of the earth, moon, and menstrual cycles. If you're craving intimate women's circles as a beautiful reminder to come back to deep connection to yourself, if you're looking to be in connection with like-minded souls, to have deep and juicy conversations all about cycle wisdom and how to realistically live as a powerful, embodied, cyclical person, then the Coven is for you. If you're also struggling with deeper challenges in your cycle, such as exhaustion or burnout, maybe inner critic or vulnerability, maybe pain in your cycle, and you know that you need to prioritize more rest, more downtime, more reflection time to really listen to your body, but carving out that space to really listen to and then honor and implement the things that you need. If that's a real challenge for you, this Coven is going to be a really inspiring place where you'll be around aligned women who are encouraging you to be your most cyclical and magical self. We'll come together each new moon for Sacred Women's Circles, where I'll be sharing my gifts, which is holding circles, sharing cycle wisdom and teachings, creating and guiding embodied meditations and shamanic journeys, offering you rituals and practices for each month as we move around the seasons on the wheel of the year and look at how that aligns to the inner seasons and cycles, to give you ways to practically, easily, and mindfully really drop into your body and your place in your cycle. And in between, there's a community space for the check-ins and the juicy conversations to continue. If you're the person who's always wanting to know where everyone's at in their cycle, but people give you a bit of side eye or like, they just don't get it, and you really need that place to be encouraged to do that, to have these chats, to learn more, to really drop into your body's wisdom, then come and join the Wild Flow Coven. All the details are in the show notes. You can join anytime, but if you come now, you'll be in before the next new moon circle, and we cannot wait to welcome you. Welcome back to another beautiful episode of Wildflow Podcast. In today's new episode, I'm chatting with Asina Kupke all about reconnecting to your cyclical nature to tap into your soul's purpose. We wandered through a delicious conversation, including topics like how to choose crystal jewelry to support each phase of your menstrual cycle and also your inner child healing journey, what the soul purpose is and how the soul expresses itself to us, how you know you can hear that it's your soul talking versus your ego, how your soul voice might change across the phases of your menstrual cycle, tools to cultivate a clean, high vibrational vessel in body and mind so that you can tap into the callings of your soul and come into more alignment with your soul's purpose. And excitingly, how Asina's soul is calling her to relocate across the world to transform and let go some parts of her work to create space for the new to come through. Exciting. So let me introduce you to Asina. Asina is the founder of her beautiful business, Nalina Wild, in which she makes soulful jewellery with the power to change your life as a rising woman. She's also a life coach, yoga and meditation teacher, and menstruality mentor, working for over 15 years supporting women holistically to realise themselves and shine their unique light into the world. For as long as she can remember, she's been on the lookout to collect all the tools for women to grow and thrive. Asina loves working with women who are yearning to create a heart-led, not fear-driven life by helping them reconnect to their feminine and cyclical nature so they can step into their power and potential to live the life of their wildest dreams. She is passionate about stepping back into the feminine cyclical qualities as a tool and guide to connect to your soul's purpose, to realize yourself. Enjoy this episode, loves. Asina, welcome to Wildflow. How are you today?
Hi, Charlotte. I'm so honored to be here. I think I'm just excited to chat with you.
Oh, I'm so excited that you're here too. And I'm really looking forward to chatting with you as well. So let's start as always with the cycle check-in and just drop into where we're at in our cycles and how that feels for us and see where we're at, if we're on the same side of the cycle or a different side, or and just to see how that's going to potentially shape this conversation. So I'll invite you just to share where you're at in your menstrual cycle, if you have one, and if there's any other seasons or cycles that you're connected with at the minute, and what that feels like for you. And I'll go first and then I'll invite you. So for me, in my menstrual cycle, I'm on day 11 today. And I'm feeling like I finally landed in my spring properly yesterday. It was like a very slow welcome into spring, more like a long winter. It felt just like it's like, oh, where's my energy? Where's the end of winter? It just felt like it wasn't coming. So finally on the up, and I'm feeling just a lot better in myself, actually. I think because I just had a really long cycle beforehand, and I felt a bit disconnected from that, order, that rhythm that the cycle gives us. And then with this long winter, which, I probably needed, to be fair, after a long cycle, just took a while for me to feel like I was being held by a cycle. So that's what it's giving me now, with this rise in energy and chattiness and more strength. And I feel like there's this excitement and playfulness that's alive in me at the minute, which is really lovely. It's nice. So yeah, I'm just trying to pace myself. I've got a few busy days this week. And I'm just trying to really keep that in check so I don't get overly tired too soon. And it's interesting, I realized I have a moon app on my phone that tells me it makes like a little cosmic sound when the moon enters a new sign or phase. And it told me that today we're at the first quarter moon. And so we've reached that, the waxing moon. And so I feel like I'm on the same upwards energy swing as the moon, which feels quite lovely. And even though we're still, deep in winter here in Australia, and we had a good thick frost this morning. It was very cold and very white. So yeah, just glad for a bit of a spring in my body, even though it's not spring outside yet. So yeah, that feels for me um where I'm at the minute. And I'd love to invite you, Asina, just to share with us where you're at in your cycle and how you feel connected to the cycle at the minute.
Yes, thank you, Charlotte. I feel like it felt so big in my body to chat now with you after such a long winter. I think yeah, there's a lot to come, the cycle probably.
I think
Um,
so.
so I am on the other side of inner winter. I'm on day 26 in my inner autumn. So I'm shortly before my inner winter. And so I feel like the feeling of excitement of being here with you is like, not really connected to my cycle right now. It's more the emotion which is present because we are here. But when I tune in to my body, I feel really that slowing down, and I really feel like that I'm going more and more inward, but I'm also in this doing mode, like in this preparation mode before my inner winter. So I really love to get things done. And interestingly, always in my inner autumn, I love to be there for my clients because there's this energy within me and I can just do the things. So yeah, I feel, between being really present and being really here. And at the same time, I feel that my body is slowing down and is getting more inward. So there are those two, streams of energy.
Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing. That's so yeah, interesting to hear like these two streams of energy, and how they're like showing up for you and how that feels and where they're coming from as well. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's fun, and we're at opposite ends of the cycle. So we're both in a doing phase. You said you feel like you're
Yes.
doing, and I feel like I'm doing, but on opposite ends, like I'm coming up and you're dropping off. So yeah, that's quite lovely. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Thank
So
you. I love this
Azina,
idea.
thank you. I'd love to ask you to just share with us um a bit about who you are and what you're doing in the world, because you're wearing some different hats, if you like. You are a life coach, you're a menstruality mentor, and a jewelry designer, amongst other things. And I'd just love to just ask you to share with us about the mix of things that you're doing and what it is that your magic is in the world, and why this is it for you, why you do what you do.
Mm, big question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, so my name is Asina. I am actually from Berlin in Germany. And right now, interestingly, my business is hugely transforming. So I will talk about the things I'm doing right now and did in the last years. So the the core of my work is never changing. So the core of my work is supporting women to follow their heart's calling and to follow their heart instead of their fear, to create a life they really want to live and they feel alive in, and and they can realize themselves. So this is always the core and my passion and how I'm driven to do all the things and bring them together. And how I do this. So I started with jewelry and with the energies of jewelry. And actually, I started in Australia with jewelry. So this was the first time I connected to gemstones more intensely and with the energies. And I started to create little jewelry pieces and sell them in Australia and traveled around. And now I do have nalinawild.com and I sell my jewelry as well. But I started to focus more on personalized and customized pieces. So I also work a lot, to come back to the cycle, with jewelry and create jewelry according to the cycle. So to the needs in the different phases of the cycle. Then I was for a long time teaching yoga classes. And now I do implement yoga and Kundalini Kriya and meditation and pranayama into my work, into my bigger work, into my soul coaching, my woman workshops, and also my program around the feminine energy and the cycle. So I bring all those little elements of coaching, of working with the body, the energies of gemstones into my work to allow the woman, or create a space for the woman to connect back to what they really need and to support them on their path to, to fulfillment and to creating a life which is just feeling right to their own nature, to their own being.
That's beautiful work. And I love how it's evolved for you already, and that it's evolving again into who knows, and we'll see. But that sounds like, yeah, really gorgeous work. And straight off the bat, I'm really curious, for one thing, to ask you about jewelry and the gemstones for the cycle and how that can support across the phases. Could you just share with us a bit more about that before we go into the other stuff? Love to hear.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Like I see in your background, that you have gemstones as well around you. So, gemstones and crystals have a special frequency of energy, and those energies we connect to, and we feel attracted naturally to those stones we need for our own healing. So the first thing, which is always important for me to say, to work with gemstones, it's intuitive. So you know exactly what you need. But when I work with my clients and I know them better, and they tell me on one side, what do they want in their life, what they need more for energies, or on the other side, I work with them on their cycle and know where they have like those little blockages, or where they have like need some work on. And then I create the jewelry according to their needs. So I do it on one side intuitively, but I also do my research or use my knowledge depending on what is needed in this moment. And then I create the jewelry. And to have this jewelry, it's like, I feel often like gemstones are the beautiful part of healing, It's something which brings in your life beauty, and there's not a lot to do. And they very gently support you with their energies. And then you wear them. By example, if you have a cycle bracelet or even a cycle mala where all 4 faces, then you wear them to the face, which also connects you to the phase of your cycle. And oh, okay, you're really conscious that you, by example, in your spring, and then the energy of the bracelet remind you and bring more consciousness into the face, but also support you with the energies, and intention you to set into the bracelet or the other jewelry to, yes, in this phase. Yeah.
Love it, because like you can see around me, I've got crystals everywhere. And I have crystal jewelry that I have like for different purposes, but I hadn't thought about it in terms of different gemstones for different parts of the cycle, or even like for what comes up in different parts of the cycle. I tend to have things that I hadn't actually connected to the cycle as such, but will wear every so often when I feel a particular thing. Like I've got like a protection one, for example, and I will wear that when I feel tender or vulnerable, or like I need a bit of like psychic protection. And I've got another one that's like self-love, and it's very heart medicine, and I will wear that when I really want to tune into my heart, or my heart needs it. But I hadn't really thought about that being cyclical. So I'm really curious, and I can see your mala, and it's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I can tell that your jewelry is really precious. And I love the way that you're thinking about like how people can connect through the intention at different times, and nurture what's coming up for them in their cycle with that gentle healing frequency of the crystals. And so just for anyone who's listening who's like, tell me more, like could you just give us some tips, I guess, on like maybe like what sort of crystal you might use for um so I'm in spring, for example, like what would be your go-to for spring?
Hmm. It really depends, of course, what you need. I hope I do say the names right in English now, to be honest.
Mm.
So rhodonite is a gemstone I often use for spring, because it also connects to healing your inner child, especially connected to the mother wound.
Mm.
That's why I say it's depending on what you personally need. Or what I also love to use for spring is a sunstone, because the sunstone allows you to step back into the sweetness of life, to be positive, to say yes to life. And there's no negativity around sunstones. So to just say no and just like be in this positive and in this joy space, especially if it's like maybe not easy for you to feel this joy and this rising energy. So this would be two gemstones which come into my mind first for spring.
That's a beautiful example. I love that. It's so interesting because like I really relate to what you said there about, you know, one, having the joy and like, wearing the sun and the bright, and like embracing that turn back towards the light that, spring is, but then also really strongly resonate with like the inner child healing and the mother wounding, and that can come up in the spring. And I just find that to be so true. That when we come out of that bleed and into that time, it's that time of tenderness and like re-emerging back into the world, and like how will we how do we relate to ourselves and the world around us, and like what's expected of us, and how assured and confident we feel and tapped into our own truth and power, versus like these wounds that can come up where we feel like childlike again, and lost
Yes.
or doubting or vulnerable, and I just see this over and over and over again for women, that it can be a really tender time. I find that a lot of people say that the premenstrual time, that's the one that gets the reputation of PMS and moods and tiredness, or whatever. But I actually find that once that we look at the premenstrual time, that can be quite easily resolved, but the deeper work is in the springtime. Do you feel like that's true as well?
Yes, I had like this where is it the words inner child wounds, like the wounds which come up always in our spring, or can like block the energy in flowing, or in even rising up. So that's why I said, like, by example, the rhodonite, which can help you to heal those wounds in these times of spring. Because I also have clients where, like, the inner spring is a big thing. It was for me as well. It took me, like, I think over a year to allow my energy to rise in this time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. It's so subtle, and it's something that, unless you have an understanding of how these archetypes and energies can come out through each phase of the cycle, I think, it really comes out later on in the cycle. But when you pay close attention, you can see the origins of, like you say, these blocks and how it's affecting us. And I think that, it's such subtle work, but really important work to tune into how you experience your inner spring. So I guess if you're listening, just noticing, what you're feeling and thinking and how you're holding yourself and moving through your spring can unlock a lot of issues in your cycle and in your life, because the spring is right back at the start of the cycle after your period. So yeah, hot tip from both of us. Yeah. So you're really specializing in soul work as well, and connecting to your soul purpose and your soul calling. And I'd love to ask you more about this. And so I guess the first question, just to clarify, because everyone's different, what do you mean when you say soul purpose or soul calling? What's that mean to you?
I'm so excited about this topic. It's like at the moment, I'm not sure if it will change, but my favorite topic of all. So yes, I realized that in English, people understand soul purpose differently. For me, I thought like there was one meaning behind it. For me, soul purpose means like following those little whispers of your soul. It doesn't feel like a big finished thing you need to reach, but organically following those little threads and following those impulses of your heart and of your soul, to then create the bigger picture and arrive at a place where you feel like fulfilled and you feel like every part of you is like shining into the world and like the whole you arrived. Until maybe a special time you need to keep going. So it feels like it's not a final destination, but it's like an ongoing way to fulfill our soul's purpose.
I really like that. I think that I hear you on, it not being a fixed thing, because I think that, there's an idea that it's something that you've got to find and you've got to search through, and then you found it, and it's like everything's going to be like resolved, like everything's going to be fine because you found it. And yeah, I think you're on the money there, that it's evolving, because you're always evolving. Like we're never stagnant, are we? Like it's this journey just keeps on going. And no, I really like what you're saying about, this is your passion, like at the minute, because it can change. And I love that you just are owning that and giving yourself permission to change your mind as you listen to the whispers of your heart. I think that's beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious for, like, how do you think that you know when you are listening to your soul purpose versus when you're listening to shoulds, like voices that are like, from the outside, when you're like, what's the difference to you?
That's such a good question. So what is the difference between your soul's voice and your ego's voice, I would say?
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't have like the full words for it, but I've tried to go into it intuitively. So the soul's voice, where we start with the ego voice. The ego voice always wants to have a construct. It wants to have a finished result. Like when I do this, like this is coming out, it's often also coming out of fear. So I have not enough money, so I need to do this. I have not enough of this, so I need to do this. So it's often also coming from a not enough place and needing to have more of something. And the soul's voice is like saying you something and you're like, what the fuck? To tell me I have to do? It makes no sense. And it's like, yeah, but do it. And then you do it and then something magical happens. And like there's this synchronicity happening. So the soul's voice often doesn't make sense. There is no destination. We talked just about it to reach. There's just this impulse you want to follow, and your fears and your ego say, no, don't do it. I think the soul's voice is out of what you know. It's out of like mostly, not always, I'm sure not always, but it's out of the construct, what we know. It's like a bit out there and we are not sure what we do and how to arrive there, but we trust like those little steps. And it's more out of the feeling of a yearning. It's not out of fear or anything, out of lack, but it's like there's this little yearning and this little trust and knowing there's something more, there's something waiting. And yeah, it's like this feeling which feels like kind of exciting and endless scary at the same time.
Love that distinction. Yeah, that's a good one. I love that, you said like it doesn't make sense and that but it feels like a yearning and like a knowing and like something that you can trust more than something that's like coming from a place of scarcity and like, oh, you should do this. And I really feel you on that. And yeah, I think that, learning to listen to that and distinguish the difference is something that, we're just not taught that like growing up at all. It's not something that we have practice in like from a young age. And so I have to really listen to the difference and how that shows up. And from a cycle point of view, I'm really curious, you work with the cycle as part of this. I'm curious how you find the soul voice versus the ego. Does that change for you around the cycle? Like the voices, or like is one louder at sometimes or the other? Or do you notice that accessing your soul voice is cyclical?
That's a big question. So I think both voices are still important. Like the ego voice is here also to navigate us in the world we live in. So like I'm in my inner autumn now. So I'm like, I have to do some things and get some things done. So this is also, it's not really the soul's voice, but it's just this knowing to come along here in this world and not to mess it all up. That there are some things to be done, just to be done in a very plain, there's nothing magical about it, just do the things. So I think the autumn is for me a big place where there's more space for the ego construct to navigate myself in the world, how we have it and how we live. And in my inner winter, it's definitely a place where I slowly come back to my soul's voice. And I have lots of drop-ins in my inner autumn with my soul's voice, but I don't follow them. I just note them because there are things to do. And in my inner winter, I'm open to this voice and I receive it and I try to go as much as possible into the silence, and create space for it. And there's like no ego at all, because then I try to really let go of the world, how it is, and the construct, and let the construct die to create a new one, the new cycle, and that this can be adjusted to my new reality and the world I create for myself. And then in spring, well, the spring is the time actually where there should be the space, which is often hard, to just follow this, learn again to follow those impulses like a child. You know, what we got trained off in school. And I think that's why that's often a hard phase for a lot of people, because to follow like those impulses with having no result at the end. And it's like the little boot camp for training to follow your inner voice again. It feels like. And then the summer is, for me, I would say, is grounding your vision. Whatever happened in winter is like starting to ground it. So there starts to be for me a mixture out of ego voice and how I ground it, and soul's voice. So it feels like to be a mixture of it. What do you think about it? What do you feel?
I love what you just shared there, because that really, for me, like ties into like the creative cycle as well, like how we, can have ideas. And it's like, I think, at the end of the menstrual cycle, you do get clarity. And I do get like, oh, this is working and that's not working. And like, oh, I just need to like, this is how I do it next time, or I don't want to do this anymore. And I feel like, it's like holding myself through the rest of that cycle and not making any rash decisions there and then is really important, because, I feel like you can act out of fear or doubt, or like too much criticism, or like too hastily without really kind of refining, like, making sure that you're making a really aligned decision, for example. And I find that, like I need to just sit back and just, like let myself sleep on it, let myself bleed on it, and just kind of go like, okay, like what's true here and what's ego and what's fear, and, all the ways that it shows up. And then I find that with bleeding time, it's a lot softer and it's a lot slower. And it's only if I stop and really listen that I can hear like the whispers of my soul. It's not like glaring in my, like high volume, like in my face. It's more like, when you're quiet, when you're listening, I'll reveal myself to you. And so I feel like, I have to really carve out that time. But when I get still and quiet, it's like, yeah, it just becomes really clear. And then it's again reminding myself like just to be in that season of where I'm at and not skip ahead. And I think that a lot of people struggle with spring for a few reasons, and I really agree with you of what you said about like we've forgotten how to play, and we've forgotten how to enjoy ourselves without the need to be productive or achieve anything. And like you said, like exactly what you said, we're so like results driven, and everything has to be worth it, and like time is and energy is precious, and it's like we've lost that ability to just play and experiment and like trial and error and just innovate, and all these things that we can have a real natural inclination for in our springtime. And so it's kind of like, well, I just need to like get all the things done already, which can really, affect our ability to make the right like pick the right ideas at that time. And I feel like with, with the soul voice, it's like it's there if we can like play with it and let it come through. Otherwise we're just kind of not really listening and not really like working with it. We're just kind of overriding it. And then for me, I think, I guess, listening to you really helped me think about summer, where it's like this I actually I'm not very much in like a get shit done mood in summer. I'm in more of
Mm-hmm.
a like, I can't sit down and focus at a computer, for example, because I'm like, I can't sit down. I'm like, what's going on? What are you doing, people? Like, what's happening? And I want to be like connected to people. I find it much harder to like do any productive work at that time. And it's like my body, my like energy is like very much calling me like out into the world. And so I feel like yeah, I'm just thinking about how that comes, through in like a soul way. I feel like my ego dissolves a bit. Like I think there could be a tendency for ego, but I actually feel like I'm more interested in like what other people are doing and what's going on, and
Mm.
kind of being with that rather than imposing my ideas, I guess, on something. I feel like I'm much more likely to be affected by ego in spring and autumn. I think just from thinking about it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. I'm going to really think about it in future and just really notice, because I might have got that quite wrong, but that's what feels right for me thinking about it at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And
Mm.
I really resonated what you say in summer, because I had this realization just for myself as well, that in summer I just don't want to sit in the computer, but I can work, but it needs to be in connection, for example, for my
Mhm.
business. So I need to be in exchange, but I can't be like on my own. I'm just like looking around what others are doing as well. So I really could connect. When you were talking, I really had this picture of like being this channel, and we receive like the information from above, and it's entering our body until we manifest it on earth. So, and it felt like this receiving is like the inner winter, and then it's coming through us, and we, like you said, the creative cycle, and we play with it. And then we slowly in summer, we become more connected to the physical world, and we start to integrate and fit it in this big idea with the world we live in. And then we take action maybe in autumn as well, and maybe bigger action, or there the inner critic comes in. So I think there was this really big picture that, and what I realize often, like the inner winter and the inner spring, often the phases we don't allow space for. And that's, but
Mm.
where the self-realization and the information is seated. And I think this is like, because of the question, where the soul's voice is the strongest, like to having this rest and to really allowing to connect deep into the inner winter, and then receiving it, and then not breaking it and doing and having the will to in the next phases to create it, but like playing with it and allowing it to be nurtured and to be played around with. And I think those two phases, because they are in society maybe not so interesting because they are not so productive, it's like
Mm.
those where the soul's voice drop in. And this is why psycho awareness is so big for me, for following your soul's purpose or your calling.
Mm. Oh, I love that so much. I love how you were describing it, and you were quite visual as well. I can see you, but just to describe, Asina was, like with arms above and just calling like that channel, like energy coming down from above, down through her head and her heart and down into her body. And, downwards was where the action was sort of coming from when it was manifested in this physical realm on earth. And I just think that's such a beautiful way of explaining that. And I could really, yeah, really relate to that. And um I'm curious, I guess my next question is, so you've talked about working with the cycle and looking at like where the soul voice and the ego voice are coming in and how they're showing up. Um, and I'm just curious as well, like, what are some of the most important things or tools, I guess, like, or practices that you share to help women really listen to their soul? Like how can people listen more to inwards to their soul if they want to?
So I think the biggest thing is like connecting back to yourself and your body. And of course, there are those three, I have three right now, three big things. So of course there is nutrition and like taking dieting out about really nourishing your body with healing foods to be a clear channel, like to be receptive at all in your body and not everything is stuck and cluttered. So being this channel with really light food, like lots of plants and nutrients, where your body can be the field to receive. And then it's also connecting to your body through movement, but mostly to intuitive movement. So really feeling what your body needs, not in this masculine way, like going to class and someone else tells you what to do and what is good for your body and everything, but like starting to learn again what is good for your body and which movements feel good without having a goal to reach, but what feels good in this moment, and slowly learning to connect back to the signs of the body. And then, of course, with cleaning your body is having a receptive mind. Like if your mind is cluttered with news and media, like it's full, there is no way to things to drop in. And then now I'm coming to menstrual cycle awareness. So, and then the big thing, like, which was a life changer for me, to understand my body as a woman and the science of my body, was menstrual cycle awareness, because it allows us to connect, for me, on a complete different level to our intuition and our body and the science of our body. So in this moment, we trust the signs of our body again and the different phases, and start to have those little moments of trust and following our body and giving our body what it needs. Like it starts to get bigger, we trust the bigger callings as well. We trust like the other impulses as well. And I think through menstrual cycle awareness, we start to become whole again. So we start to accept all the parts, not just half of us, like the joyful and extroverted, whatever personality we could be in a short amount of time in our cycle. And we start to accept like the other parts, which are maybe more tired and more introverted, and even having like thoughts which don't always feel good, or emotions which maybe are not so easy to process. And like to integrating those back and to become whole is, for me, is such a big thing, because we can't step into our soul purpose with just accepting half of us. We can't be half and live the full version of our life. We need to be the full version of ourselves first to step into our full life. And I think that's so powerful about menstrual cycle awareness and what I see in the women I work with, because the moment they slowly, it's a long process, it's not something happening from today to tomorrow. It's coming together. Something happens. It's so organically. It's nothing with effort or with pushing or you need to become something. It's like, it's happening with so much ease, and like everything is unfolding by its own. And and with this trust to your body and this connecting back, you can first even hear your whisperings. If you don't connect to yourself, if you don't trust, you can't hear it. And then you slowly start acting after them in trusting your body and what it needs. And those little impulses like create those big things, like doing this little steps.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. That's really beautiful. And I hear you on like the importance of being a clear channel to receive and to to really tune in and then work with that energy and listen to what's there. But also I just really love how you've explained the power of menstrual cycle awareness to help you do that. I think that's so valuable. And I think that cycle awareness is like the key that's been missing for everyone for so
Yes.
long, and just fascinates me so much in all the different ways that cycle awareness can help us, like, so, health wise, but also like you've talked about soul wise, and like in our self-care, in our relationships, in our business, like in all parts of who we are. It just never ceases to amaze me how much wisdom there is when we can tune into the cycle and how we are different each day. And you really explain that beautifully, like meet all parts of ourselves and accept those parts, because we can't live our full life or be our full self unless we accept all parts of ourselves. And I just think that that's like, just tied it in a bow. Like that's just, yeah, really, really clear for me. And I think that that's the key. It's like reclaiming those parts of us that we have labeled, or other people have labeled as, too much or too little, not enough, or, not enough in some way. Like ultimately that's what it comes down to. It's somehow just not being acceptable enough, not good enough. And so we lock those parts of ourselves away. And so it's bringing those parts of ourselves back out and sitting with them. And like you said, it's a slow process. So, you're not moving through it too fast. It's gives you time to really get to know that part, but also to move at a gentle pace. Yeah, so much in there that you said. I think that's incredible. So do you think you'll be doing this for long, or do you think tell us about the change that you can feel coming on? How's your soul purpose nudging you forwards or sideways or wherever?
Oh, so I'm just thinking about, okay, what I do feel like I want to share right now. What's waiting. So, there are big steps. I let go of a lot of, like I said, I do a lot of work, and I just right now let go of some parts. By example, the morning ritual and also the jewellery for the next 6 months. So, and to create space, well, how the cycle is in autumn, to let go, to create space for the new to come. And I do follow my impulse and will move to Bali in October. So
Amazing.
yes, this is like a really big thing for me and a really big step, which happened now after having like a long, very painful and dark time in the last 9 months. And so now I'm doing this. There's so much opening within me and in the world, but it's like a big letting go process right now for me. It's a huge letting go process. So yes, I will move to Bali with a part of my work. So I will keep going the soul coaching and my sacred feminine power program. And then I will see with the space what I do invite in. I have a little secret project I don't talk about yet. And yes, so
amazing.
For me, it feels really big because Bali was always like my destination to be, because I feel myself feel home. There.
Amazing. That's so exciting. You're really listening to your soul voice and taking that big leap and letting go of what's not working for you. And I love that, creating space in autumn. Like that's such embodied cycle wisdom right there. Love that. Yeah. Oh, best of luck with your move and with all of the changes and the evolution. That's really, really cool. And so if people want to connect with you and follow you, or work with you, where can they find you? Where's the best place for them to come to find you?
So the best place to get a feeling for my work is nalinawild.com is the English version, or nalinawild.de is the German version. So, but most of my work, as it's evolving so quickly, is not on my website at the moment. Mm-hmm. So the best way is just reach out to me, and I send everything to you. So it's contact@nalinawild.com. And you find a bit more on my Instagram account @munes.temple. So this is a bit more updated, but the best way is truly at the moment to reach out to me, because I'm not as quick as everything changes with my website.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So I'll pop those links into the show notes so you can come and find Asina and her incredible work. And just thank you so much for chatting with us. I've really loved learning from you and sharing this space with you. Just thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Charlotte. It's so inspirational to talk to you. It was so good. Thank you. I'm so honored.
Thanks so much for listening to Wild Flow. I love having you here. If you're loving this podcast, why not leave a rating and review and share your favorite episodes with those who you think would love to listen. And if you share on Instagram, tag me @charlotte.pointo.coach. To take the next step in your own journey of learning how to live, love and lead and flow with your cyclical nature, and for deeper guidance and support in your cycle embodiment journey, you can discover my freebies and join my Wild Flow Coven, my new Cycle Wisdom membership, or even discover my group programs, private cycle coaching and courses, all on my website @charlottepointo.com. Until next time, go well with the flow of your body's cyclic nature.